Hello and welcome everyone to Teslanomics Live. I'm your host Ben Sullins, and this is the show where we break down the latest Tesla news from the week that has passed. And if you're new here, this will last about an hour. I've got a bunch of stories to run through, and then towards the end we'll do a Q&A, which is hosted on Crowdcast. If you want to be a part of that conversation, you just need to join our email list, which you can do so for free at teslanomics.co/join. So before I get too deep into this, I need to thank Wonder Capital for supporting this episode. They are helping small businesses go solar by financing their projects at a reasonable rate. And as an investor, you can actually be a part of that process and earn a decent return. So you can diversify your portfolio and help fight climate change, all while supporting local businesses. So I'm a big fan of Wonder Capital. I think if you guys haven't heard of them, please go check them out. And thank you guys for supporting the show. Now, another thing about Wonder Capital that I wanted to mention is I did do an interview with their founder and CEO, Brian Bursick, on Friday of last week, which was all about the future of energy. There was this new Bloomberg New Energy Finance report that came out recently, and it had all kinds of really interesting bits about predictions going into the future, which is from the Bloomberg New Energy Outlook, which is 65 analysts from around the world that come together every year to produce their report on kind of what's happening. And so in that report, in that talk, we touched on all the different main points that they were trying to make. And one of them was that predicting by 2050, solar, wind, and batteries will make up a huge percent of the world's energy demand, and EVs are a big part of that. So if you're into this kind of thing, which I suspect you probably are if you're watching this show, I would recommend going and checking it out. And again, thanks Wonder for supporting the show. All right, so the first story that we have, the title story, the lead story, which is spelled differently than you might think, is about Tesla shorts really having to eat their hats last week. So this story starts out where right after the earnings call, the Tesla stock traded more than 10% higher than Thursday at $331 per share. That means that short sellers who have taken a stance against Tesla, that is, they're betting against them, they have lost over $1.1 billion. And that was just after that day. It's actually since gone up almost 16% since its low back about 301 the day before the earnings call. Now, Elon was what everyone, I think, wanted him to be, which was boring on the earnings call. He was pretty standard kind of stuff. No lashing out at people, no cutting people off. In fact, he even apologized. And I did cover that live. So if you haven't seen that and you want to go through the recap, it's great. There's really not much going on visually, so you can throw it down in your earbuds or whatever and just listen to it on lunch or something like that. So I thought that was really interesting. And I wanted to just highlight that because me and many other folks thought that this actual report would lead to kind of a bloodbath in the stock, and the stock would take a huge hit. But because they did better than expected, and everything seems to be they're turning a corner when it comes to Model 3 production and all the other things that they're moving forward with, it seems like the market responded very positively and is still responding positively to them. But as we said before, this is a roller coaster ride, so hang on to your butts. Now, one of the interesting things, and I started to pull off some of this data here. Let's just take a look at the actual stock, and you can see essentially what happened the day after the earnings call, right? They're going from just about 301 to 327, and now they're up to about 350 almost right now as of this moment, or when I ran this report here a few minutes ago. So just great news for anyone that's an investor. I, as I've stated before, am not an investor in Tesla. I don't invest in any individual company out of kind of principle, but I am obviously not a guy that is your financial advisor. So whatever your stance is on this, I think if you're a fan of Tesla or an investor in Tesla, this is all great news. So as I started to dig into the data, I found some other things that I thought would be interesting to share. And the first one was that the actual market cap, it puts them above the other big three U.S. automakers, which would be General Motors, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler, at $59 billion in terms of their market value, which is nuts. So using the NASDAQ website here, I actually pulled this data out, and you can see that they have this competitor auto industry stuff, and you can see all the different companies and kind of their ranking and how Tesla is the highest here at $59 billion, with because these are in thousands is the total dollar value, if you're wondering why I'm saying billion instead of million. Then General Motors at 53. That blew my mind, and that is what I love about looking at the data, because this is where you find these things. And that's just amazing to me because GM, if you've been following EVs for a while, you're familiar that GM isn't the best friend to the EV movement. Although with the Chevy Bolt, I would say that they're actually one of the few that have a legit second generation EV that you can buy. So, anyways, I just thought that was really interesting. So, I did what I do and I created a chart out of it. So here you can see, and I'll put a link to this down in the description. I don't have it there right now, but I will have it there a little bit later today. And so you can see at 59 billion, Tesla's the number one, and then you have GM at 53, Ford way behind, Fiat Chrysler, even further behind, and then you kind of have these other ones here. I'm not even sure what some of these are. You can see Honda and Toyota. This is kind of interesting. So anyways, I wanted to share that data with you because I thought it was made me happy, right? There's a lot of stuff going on that doesn't make you happy, and there's a lot of negativity out there. So to me, this was something that I just wanted to highlight, and I thought you guys might like as well. So great news all around. If you're a Tesla fan, if you're a Tesla investor, whatever the case may be, unless you're a Tesla short, of course, then this is bad news, and you probably are thinking the opposite of what I'm saying right now. Okay, well, that's it for that story. Hopefully this trend continues. We're hoping to see profitability in Q3 and Q4. Hopefully we don't have any major layoffs or crazy things like that, which they seem to have done in order to meet some of these targets and kind of perform the way they did. It does seem to be a huge focus for them, and I think as the Model 3 ramps up, we'll start to see better operational profitability, better gross margins, and all those kind of things. So hopefully, we're on the up and up from there. Okay, next story I want to talk about is that one related to a video I did yesterday. This was right after the earnings call because one of the most interesting things about the earnings call to me wasn't the financial stuff or how Elon was boring or any of that. It was that they listed the top 5 vehicles which people were trading in for the Tesla Model 3. And to me, the surprising thing was that the majority of those cars were 150% price difference lower than the cheapest Model 3 you can buy currently. Now, I think as the cheaper Model 3 gets out, this will become even more prevalent. I know a lot of folks are still holding on to their reservations, waiting for that standard option. And I know a lot of other folks are, have opted for the all-wheel drive and then performance. So I did these charts last week, and I just want to recap this for you in case you missed that video, because I thought it was pretty insightful. I've seen other people trying to do this, but here's my spin on it. So the overall trend, sales trend over the past 10 years for the top 5 cars that were traded in goes like this. And you can see that many of the years they were selling over 1 million of those vehicles per year in the US alone. I've also updated these charts a little bit if you've already seen this. So that means that the potential market, assuming Tesla, ate all of these, all of this market here, would be over 1 million just for the Model 3, not including any of the other cars people are trading in or anyone else that's coming to buy in or anything like that, or people that are, buying their first car or something like that. Although, cheers to you if your first car is a Tesla Model 3. That's pretty awesome. So the next chart on this journey here was about the actual percentage difference. And so I was looking at those 5 vehicles and their sales numbers over the past 10 years, year-on-year change. So year-over-year growth, and you can see that 2008, 2009 were big down years, down 20%, down 6%, and then it bumped up a little bit, then a big drop in 2011. 2012, giant, massive year, and then kind of down since then. It's just been a slower growth and then actually negative the past 3 years. So this could be a sign as things start to shift. Now, beyond that, the makeup of these vehicles goes like this, where essentially the biggest 3 in this category are the Honda Accord, the Honda Civic, and the Toyota Prius. All cars that are very cheap in comparison to the cheapest Model 3. I mean, like really cheap comparatively. So if you look at that in a different way, because these area charts don't actually tell you the right the overall makeup, you can see for the past 10 years, of the cars being traded in, the Honda Accord and Honda Civic account for over 7 million vehicles that have been sold. That is a big number. That's above 70%, or exactly 70% in our study here. And the Toyota Prius, almost 2 million vehicles. Then, of course, the BMW 3 Series being the next one in, at over 1 million vehicles in the past 10 years. So these are mainstream cars. These aren't massive, these aren't like comparable cars that we typically think of. So that was the most interesting thing about that whole piece. And then the last chart I had here was just kind of showing the trend of each individual model of those 5. And so I did a whole video on it where I went a little bit deeper, but that probably recaps it there. And so the main thing that I got out of this was that with this, Tesla is essentially poised to sell millions of the Model 3. I mean, almost like a million per year or more. The market is certainly there and certainly enough. There's enough demand for them. In fact, there was a really funny photo that somebody posted of a Krispy Kreme with a line all the way down the street and all that, thinking, and then the caption, which is a typical thing you hear from short sellers of like, oh yeah, these guys must go out of business. They can't keep up with demand, right? Because you don't want, I don't know, it doesn't make any damn sense. So, with a huge number of outstanding reservations and more of these cars hitting the streets, I think the Model 3 is going to become the new Honda Civic. It's not going to be the iPhone. It's not an iPhone moment. It is a Honda Civic moment where literally this is every car that everyone wants. I know when I was growing up as a teenager, that was like the coolest car that you just had to have. And I feel like that is what the Model 3 is now, with the exception that it's about 150% more of the price of a typical and average Honda Civic. So kind of crazy stuff. Now, we're going to get into some kind of just maintenance stuff here, and I'll run through that, and then I'll share another fun, exciting thing, and then we'll go over to Q&A. So if you're on Crowdcast, we're going to kind of jump over to that early. After we get through this bit here. So the next piece is that the referral program for Tesla has changed officially, and now you can only get the unlimited free supercharging, essentially the unlimited supercharging, where as long as you have the car, you have free supercharging as much as you want, until September 16th of 2018. So we now know officially when it's going to end. Now after that, owners will be able to give friends 1 year of unlimited supercharging. And that may be where it just kind of sticks, because that wouldn't have to be something that you have to change, right? If everyone that's buying a new car gets unlimited free supercharging forever, well, it would kind of be like that promise that Elon made to us back when he unveiled the supercharger, right? But anyways, after this, this looks like where it'll stay, or this is likely where it'll stay. And so I just wanted to bring that up. If you are in the market for one of these vehicles, you should find a referral code and get it. Of course, I'll put a link to where mine is if you guys want. But there are many other people that could benefit greater than I can. So don't worry about using mine over someone else's. So with that, one of the other additions to this was that the Performance Model 3 now qualifies as well. So when you go to one of the referral pages, you can see all the things that you have. So you have the Model S, the Model X, of course. Now you have the Model 3 Performance, and any Model 3 Performance that was ordered prior to August 1st automatically gets it without a referral code at all. So if you're actually on the fence about this and you're thinking about ordering a Performance Model 3, this might be the thing that puts you over the edge there. And if I just priced this out recently, and if you do it without the Performance package, the added $5,000, and you don't do autopilot, this is a very reasonable car. I mean, in terms of performance, what you get for the money. So I think it's one of those things that that really is something to consider if you're waiting for a Model 3 now. If you do a lot of road trips or a lot of things like that, it's definitely something to consider. So figure it out. September 16th, not too far down the road, and that's when it'll officially be changing. So I hope you guys are able to make that decision before then. Okay. Next, I'm going to go through a segment that I just like to think of as Elon's kind of tweet roundup. He obviously does this stuff every week where he just kind of spews out a lot of random stuff, and so these don't always fit into a segment. So now I'm just kind of thinking this as like the Elon tweet roundup, so I can do this for you guys in case you weren't following along. I literally have an alert on my phone, and my wife gets super upset when I'm like 11 p.m. like, what is he talking about? So anyways, here we go. Elon tweet roundup, first one. So Elon said recently that we're adding a party and camper mode soon to S, 3, and X. So your car can maintain airflow, temps, selective lights, music, and power devices for 48 hours or more while parked. Big batteries rock. So I'm super excited about this because for me, camper mode is something I really love. I do use it a lot where I'll have my son, we'll on the weekend especially, we'll go out, do something fun in the morning, and then we'll hop in the car and he falls asleep on the way home. And then I park in the garage and it's really cool and calm and nice in there. I'm just going to let him sleep because transferring him is not going to happen. And I need to keep the AC on and all that kind of stuff. So this would be great. It's something I love in my Model S, but it's something that doesn't exist in the Model 3 yet. So once it's there, I will be super stoked on this. Also, if you actually do go camping, this would be a benefit as well. So I'm all for this. I'm really stoked to see this come out soon. Next, Elon talks about that apparently they've partnered with Atari here, and they're going to be adding some of the games to Tesla V9, which he said is released in about 4 weeks, which is very interesting because with V9 there was a lot of speculation about what will be included, and on the earnings call last week there was even more that the Autopilot team came on and talked about what they'll potentially be able to bring. So I'm excited about the games. That's cool, but I'm way more excited in this tweet about Tesla V9 release in about 4 weeks because that sounds like it's going to have a lot of exciting stuff coming with it. All right. He also said that if you're into video game, consider applying to Tesla. We want to make super fun games that integrate the center touchscreen phone and car in real life. Okay, here's why this is amazing to me. Here's why this... Okay. We are still, and some people disagree with me on this, but I think that I'm right. We are still basically the iPhone before the App Store. There will be an app store for Teslas. There will be a marketplace of apps that you can install, probably some you can purchase. Some of those might be games like this, and obviously they'll limit those when you're not driving and things like that. But I think many of them will be things like Waze or Spotify or any of the other navigation apps or anything like that in which you can interact with the vehicle in a better way and effectively continue to improve your experience over time. Also, by the way, a whole new revenue stream for Tesla opens up and a whole new marketplace for developers. So if you're an app developer, really start thinking about this. And I know a lot of other companies have started to make apps. The one that I work with, Teslab, we've made one and we've done a lot of work on all the different functionality and tracking and kind of making it a better user experience than just the standard one that Tesla provides. So the reason I'm most excited about this has nothing to do with video games. It's just that to me, it sounds like we're going to have some APIs and some SDKs and some really cool stuff in an app store for Teslas, hopefully very soon, because I really, really want that. I think it'll be huge for the users and for Tesla. Okay, next, this caught me a little off guard, but I thought it was funny. So Samson Mao asks, when are we getting a Radio Flyer Model X? He said, we're working on a new Tesla mini car that can squeeze in an adult. I'm not sure if he's talking about the Model Y or what, but okay. I guess this is a thing. So I'm curious about what you guys think about that. He has stated before that they want to get into this kind of a smart car market, or this smaller space where you can have an even better, like a more compact urban vehicle, which I think is great. I think it's a great market for them. After the pickup truck, after the Model Y, after all of those things, I think it's just a little bit much right now to try to do everything. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this. Now I did have some videos for you guys about this. Here is what he's talking about with the one where you can fit a human actually into this vehicle. As you can see
definitely
here,
not
so this
recommended.
is the existing one.
Sorry
that's my
if we end up
wife,
breaking this.
Jenny, and my son, Jack. So I guess it already exists. I don't think you really need it. This was a little while ago. And Jack definitely gets upset when Jenny's driving alone. God, he looks so small there.
What do you think? Cruising.
So I guess my point is it depends on about how big the human is. So that was Jack a little while ago. Here's Jack now, driving that same thing. I just posted this on Instagram. Oh man, he officially has it. He's officially got it. So, anyways, mini car, cool. I'm excited about it. I think it'll be cool. Curious what you guys think. Leave me a comment. Let me know down below. All right, so I'm going to switch over to Crowdcast now. We'll get straight into Q&A. Let me do a drink of water. And we will get started with Sai. Hello, Ben. What are your thoughts about Autopilot 3 chip replacements for all 2.0 and 2.5 cars? And will the coast-to-coast self-driving come true at the end of this year? What extra features for the full self-driving package? Okay, so good question. I don't believe the coast-to-coast will come true this year. I don't know if that really makes sense for within the next 5 years. And I say that because Elon actually made some comments about it, indicating that it may not actually be coming. With regard to the chip replacement, I think that makes sense. I think that's a cool thing. I'm glad that they're making them interchangeable and that hopefully it will be relatively cheap if you do need this upgrade in order to go full self-driving. I personally am still skeptical that we'll see real full self-driving level 4 or 5 autonomy within the next 10 years. We may see, like my guess is that we'll start to see some autonomous features such as self-parking, as in like I get out of the car and it goes and parks itself, or at least hope something like summon when you have a curved driveway, it'll turn, or follow the curve and then pick you up, that kind of a thing. I think things like that we're going to start to see. I don't know if we'll call those full self-driving. I believe they should be included in the enhanced autopilot. But full self-driving to me still seems years and years away. And that's based on personal experience driving the vehicles, as well as talking to computer vision experts, as well as talking to self-driving car teams for other companies that are working on this currently. That's not a completely uneducated guess, but we'll see. I would love to have it here tomorrow. I'm kind of short on the idea that it actually will get here that soon. Okay, thanks for the question, Sai. Next question, Gojian Yi. Hi, Ben. What are your thoughts on when you think Tesla will start catching up with building more service centers with the increased number of new Tesla EVs on the roads and in need of service but lack replacement parts? Should Elon be ramping up that side of the coin at the same time? Yes, he should be, and as far as I know, they are. Back at the shareholders meeting, he said that they're doing this, as well as one of the things they're trying to do is build out the body shops, which is a big problem, where sometimes the repair times are months and months out. I heard recently here in San Diego, we're in California, not too far from where they make the stuff, that there was officially no ETA on certain parts, and so literally you just don't know when you're going to get it, which can be a terrible experience, and just really they need to do better about it. So I agree. I think that companies, when they make products like this, they can't just focus on the one bit, which would be like actually making the thing and selling it. They need to focus on the entire kind of life cycle ownership. And so I agree, they need to invest in this heavily. It does seem like they are making or publicly stating that. But yeah, certainly, when I was at the service center just a week ago, that place was just packed. And so, yeah, it's going to be one of those things. And also there's definitely some truth to this sentiment that, like I got my car in January and I've been back at the service center many times compared to when I got my Model S and I didn't have anything go wrong for at least a year. I had like one guy come out because the windshield wiper broke or something like that. Then he came out to my house, fixed it the next day in about 15 minutes. No big deal. So definitely there's something to be said about them needing to invest in this. So I agree with that sentiment entirely. They're making some public statements about it. And I guess down the road, we'll kind of see how those things play out. Thanks for the question. Les asks, what do you believe Tesla's rationale is behind raising the prices on all-wheel drive and paint? Oh, I didn't know that they actually raised the price on paint. On all-wheel drive. I did notice that they did it on paint. I haven't heard a rationale for it. I haven't seen that pop up anywhere, so I'm not sure if they've made a statement on it. It does seem really strange to me that something yesterday that was $1,000 is now $1,500 without any difference, right? Like when you saw that there was a difference between the multi-coat red and multi-coat white and the non-multi-coat paint options and then not the solid black option, that to me, that made a little bit of sense, right? Assuming that there is a tangible difference there, the multi-coat versus not. So in this case, I don't know. I agree. It seems odd. It seems wrong. I guess maybe there's something behind it, and I do feel like it's kind of a bait and switch. So yeah, definitely not happy about that. If anything, it pushes me because I was literally pricing. I keep going back and forth. I'm set on not buying a performance Model 3 right now. Because I have some other stuff financially that I want to get taken care of with our family and in our life. But after that, I may order one. And at this point, I would just order solid black because even if I needed to do, I'm going to do paint protection film and ceramic coating and all that. And if I'm going to do it, why would I pay $1,500 for paint? Then probably have to pay $500 on paint correction because they never can paint a car right. Or perfectly, which nobody can, and then it just doesn't make sense. Now, if I'm going black, I would just get solid black. Like screw the other ones. Like there's no value there for me. So yeah, I'm not happy about it. Yeah, I didn't know about all-wheel drive though. Dimitar asks, "Hi Ben, how close do you think we are to the $35,000 base version of the Model 3 being available?" I would say maybe 3 months. Hopefully they'll start selling it by the end of the year. I doubt anyone will actually receive one in 2018 in the US because I just don't think we're there yet. I think the backlog is so huge and a large number of people are ordering the all-wheel drive and the performance versions, which are higher price points, which lead to better margins. And so I think, the $35,000 version will be available someday, but it might not be this year. That's my guess. Thanks for the question. Peter asks, do you think the Autopilot version 3 will have exclusive features for those who purchase full self-driving, or is enhanced Autopilot part of all these great new features Elon talked about? Auto lane change, on and off ramp. Where is the divide, do you think, between the two? Also, at what point of autonomy do you think the new computer chip will be required? Yeah, good question. I believe everything they talked about on the earnings call is included in enhanced Autopilot. If you look at the Tesla website and you see where they actually list what is available in enhanced Autopilot, you'll see that there are numerous features on there which are nowhere close, or we don't even have a hint at in the current situation. So I believe all the stuff they talked about there, including the auto lane change, on and off ramp, the summon going around corners and all those things, is not, that's all part of enhanced Autopilot. Full self-driving, I think, is when you'll need a new computer, and that, again, I think is still so far down the road. It's really interesting what they're deciding to do, in the fact that they actually addressed one of the main concerns I've always had, which is, how are you going to have enough horsepower on the car itself to process this stuff in real time? Because unlike, let's say, machine learning algorithms or AI or something that live entirely in a digital world, these cars live in a physical world, so they need to do things completely disconnected from the internet, and that's where the hardware and compute resources just are entirely different ball game versus what you can do online. So yeah, I think that there's some interesting stuff going on with that. I think it's really exciting to hear them talk about it, and I'm excited to see what comes out. But based on everything I understand, everything they talked about on that call sounds like it should be included in the enhanced Autopilot. Thanks for the question, Peter. Leo asks, I know this is probably taboo, but have you or anyone you know put the Model 3 through a car wash? The ones where you don't ride in the car. I've read that Tesla will go out of neutral if no one is sitting in the car, asking for a friend. Yeah, so I did it, and I got almost $1,000 worth of paint damage going through one time. Yeah, the guy had to sit in there. Also, it was all messed up because the auto wipers were on, so they were just going haywire as it was spraying it. I really don't like those auto wipers. I wish you could permanently disable them. But anyway, it's a unique problem because it doesn't rain here. So I wouldn't recommend it at all. Again, what I do, and yes, they are a sponsor, and is I use Wash Mist from Elite Finish. You can use that one, or you can use any other one. It's a waterless wash system, and I literally just have a spray bottle in my trunk and some rags. And whenever my car is dirty, I'll just pop out, spray it off, wipe it down. Takes me about 10 to 15 minutes, And the car is beautiful. It's brand new. I'm not using a ton of water. I'm not waiting 20 minutes at a car wash. I'm not spending $20 each time. You spend, I think, about $100 for a whole year's worth of stuff. So I think, that's the one I use. That's what I recommend, of course. But there are other ones like it. So, whatever you choose, I think those are far better options from a time, money, and environmental standpoint. So thanks for the question, Leo. Leo again. Hi, Ben. When you filed your taxes for the $7,500 tax credit, was it actually an extra $7,500 in returns, or were there secret government fees that made it less? Yes, those secret government fees. Oh, man. I haven't filed my taxes for the $7,500 tax credit because I bought the car in 2018, so I won't be doing that till next year. This would just be an added deduction for me, and now actually there's all these kind of weird things about deductions and stuff, so who knows. And also, but the way, I've been doing YouTube full-time since June of last year, but I've been a full-time entrepreneur making online courses and stuff like that since April of 2016. So my taxes are completely different, right? Like when I get money, I don't pay taxes on it. It's not like I'm paying an employer. And so for me, it's just a whole other mess. And I never get a return. Generally at the end of the year, I just have to pay a giant check to the IRS, which hurts a lot more than how you typically would have it, where you would just pay a little bit throughout the year. But the way I understand it works, to get to your question, is that it should just reduce your tax liability. It should be one of the deductions off the top there. And then you add in all the other deductions, and that should be what your return is. So there's lots more info online. I think I've done several other videos on it. So hopefully that helps. And yeah, I'll let you know kind of how it goes next year. Thanks for the question, Leo. Larry asks, Aloha, Ben. I believe I heard about Elon giving lifetime free supercharging for Performance Model 3 purchases as a new perk. Can you verify this, or is it just wishful thinking? Mahalo. Yeah, there it is. It's true. I talked about it already. If you have ordered one, you already get it. And if you're not looking to order one, I'll put a link to my referral code in the description, or you can go, there's like a Reddit group with other people, someone whatever. So yeah, it's true. Thanks, Larry. Jason asks, hi Ben, could you share your thoughts on why you feel level 4 or 5 is at a minimum 5 years away? I think it's a minimum 10 years away. Most car and tech companies have stated they believe 2020. Waymo is said to launch this to public in Arizona this year, and Nissan has stated 2020 for theirs. Okay, cool. Thank you for asking. Let me just break this down real quick. Level 4 or 5 is basically, okay, the only difference between level 4 and 5 is 4 is you'll never ever have to drive. 0% chance you ever have to touch the wheel. 5 is you don't have a steering wheel. Essentially the same thing, just a difference in design, right? So here's the difference. Waymo has these autonomous taxis in Chandler, Arizona. If you're unfamiliar with Chandler, Arizona, I'm from Phoenix. I spent a lot of time going out there. It's a brand new city, essentially, suburb. Like a suburb of probably 1 million people or something. But it's a new city, relatively in Phoenix or near Phoenix. And all the roads are very well marked, very clean, pothole free for the most part, very, very well maintained. As well as it's bright and sunny almost all year round. It really doesn't rain. It doesn't really have any inclement weather or fog or snow or anything like that. Waymo, so here's the thing. If Waymo's saying they're launching a level 5 or level 4 vehicle in a specific market, in a specific town, in a specific thing, that's a lie. That's not true, right? Because it wouldn't actually be level 4 or level 5. It's like level 4 or level 5 with these conditions. Now that is the main difference, right? If you want to truly have a level 4 or level 5 autonomous vehicle, it needs to be able to drive from New York to Philadelphia in January without a person ever touching the wheel, with horrible fog and all kinds of other cars and things on the road. And if there's construction or an accident, it needs to be able to navigate its way around, get back on the other road, whatever the case may be. So really, we're talking, this isn't this isn't a linear scale. This is a log scale of complexity. So when you go, when you go from 1 to 2, it's one thing. From 2 to 3, it's a giant hill up, and then 4 and 5 are like Mount Everest compared to being on sea level. So it's not something that I think we'll see within 10 years in reality, right? We won't actually have these things for a very long time to come. However, what I do believe we will start to see are these, whatever you want to call them, autonomous or 4 or 5 or however you want to classify it, whatever label you want to give it, within certain conditions. So let me give you a good example. At a university where it's basically there aren't cars allowed, but there are trams. These trams follow very specific pathways and they're very well maintained. It's not a huge amount of road to cover. And they go from one point to the other and they travel at low speeds. I think that is something that is ripe to be completely disrupted. Go ahead. Yeah, like that could be something that, today we have the technology and have implemented and kind of, set up all the right safety procedures and all that. I think that is something you could do literally right now. And I think there probably are, and, I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but there are like lots of places where this is happening. I think that is what we're going to see. We're not going to see this overnight switch to entire autonomous vehicles, entire autonomy everywhere you go. I think what we're going to have are levels that progress. And then eventually, 10, 15 years from now, it will be entirely normal for almost every car out there to be autonomous. Then, the deeper predictions is 15, 20 years from then, driving may even become illegal in the majority of areas. And it'll be kind of a hobbyist activity to do on the weekends. Kind of like if you have horses, right? People, even if you live in a place like Montana and you have horses and you ride them all the time, you certainly don't, ride that to the next town to get groceries, right? It doesn't make sense. It's a different kind of activity. So I think driving is going to change that way, but we're talking way further down the road. And when people tell you level 4, level 5 autonomy with conditions, you're not actually doing level 4, level 5 autonomy, right? You're doing it in a specific subset, which is like, this is why Elon, when he talked about the coast-to-coast travel, said that he can't do it because they would have to basically hard code in the route and write all the code to do exactly, the thing, which is cheating. So when Waymo or anyone else says that they're going to have level 4 or 5, I want to see it drive from New York to Philadelphia to Miami in the winter without, and I wanted to encounter a downed tree on the road and then, back up and then, find its way around it. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen for many years to come. But we are going to see lots of little examples where these things appear to be happening in the right conditions. And I think that's awesome. I think that's what we should be really excited about. Even perhaps on the freeways, we're going to have things where like this is an autonomous vehicle lane or something like that. So, this is all just tech related, nothing even to mention about all the hurdles with legislation and regulation and all those kind of things. I think we're moving in the right direction, but I think the hype around it really confuses the reality. So there you go. Happy to be wrong on all that, but that's why I feel that way. Thanks for the question, Jason, and sorry for being so long-winded. Walt asks, I've had my Model 3 for about a month and a half. In that time, I've noticed if I get close to the center line or the white line on the right, the steering wheel starts to vibrate. Is this normal? Like a warning? Yes, it is. It's called the lane departure warning. You can go set it up in, I think, the driving settings. It's weird, though. A lot of the settings, and I think someone criticized them for this. I agree. The UI needs some work. So it's a driver setting. I think if you click on the car and then go to driving and then click on the gear is where you'll see it. Hopefully that helps, Walt. Donald asks, I just got my Model 3 Friday. I love it. Best I can tell, there's no 12-volt aux power socket. Has anyone tapped off the 12-volt battery to bring 12-volt into the car? No, I don't think, if you're talking about like an actual regular wall outlet, yeah, that doesn't exist. And I haven't seen anything like that. I have seen the wireless pads for charging, and that's about it. So there you have it. That's what I know of to now. Thanks, Donald. Byron asks, were you surprised that Tesla reported that a lot of reservation holders were opting for all-wheel drive and performance versions? I got my long range sooner than expected and assumed that was because most folks were waiting for the base model. Yes, I was. That definitely was something that I was surprised by, and something that I think, even I think Elon and those guys said that they were surprised by as well. So, I agree. I don't know. It's funny. So in fact, I'm going to post it later today. I took the regular Model 3 and a performance Model 3 drag racing this past weekend, as well as I shot some other videos with it. So, yes, I mean, the performance is so much quicker than the regular. but even the regular for most people is insanely quick and performs exceptionally well. So I'm surprised. I really am. Thanks for the question, Byron. Derek asks, I had a question on the Tesla app. Been loving it as a tool to learn more about our car and our driving habits, but I was wondering about the trips feature. It doesn't seem to capture them all. Is this by design? Yes and no. I don't know what's happening exactly with your scenario, but the way it works, the way we designed it was, we don't want to be just pinging your car all the time to figure out what's happening. And tracking everything that it possibly can, because that does affect your battery. And some of the other stats apps that track these things do that. And that's what we've seen. People have been reporting huge amounts of phantom drain. We've done a ton of internal testing. We've modified our way of capturing data to be as minimally invasive as possible. So what I mean by that is, and I have a video on it where I interviewed Ben Shippers, one of the founders of it, about how it works. And so the general idea is, if you get in your car and you start driving, we will notice that you are driving, and then by your phone accelerometer, that's why we need location access. And then after we notice you're driving, we'll ping your car and see if you're driving in your car. And if you are, then we know, okay, this trip going on right now is in your car. Now, so for example, if you are don't have your phone, or the app is turned off or something like that, and you start to drive, we may not pick that up. Or if, let's say, someone else is driving your car that doesn't have the app installed, then we won't pick that up. So we wanted it to be as minimally invasive as possible, which means that we don't just abuse the hell out of the API. And one of the main reasons we switch to that is because with the S and the X, when we were pinging the API for what was going on with the car, we can do it a lot, and the car doesn't wake up. It doesn't cause any phantom drain. It doesn't really mess with it at all. However, the Model 3 APIs are different, and what's happening is every time we were pinging it to see what's going on with the car, it would actually wake the car up, and this was causing a higher amount of phantom drain early on. That's why we quickly did a lot of testing, we did a lot of research on it, and that's why we switched to the way it is now. So I'm guessing what's happening is maybe someone else is driving the car, or you don't have the app installed, you don't have your phone with you, or something along those lines, and that's why it's probably not picking them up. If none of that's true, and you still have questions, you can join our Tesla Jedi group if you go to teslanomics.co/Jedi, and Will, one of the founders of the company and the lead developer, is in the group, and you can ping him directly, or just ping me and I'll forward it on. So that's kind of what's going on. I'm glad you're liking the app, and yeah, so hopefully that explains kind of the back end, how it works. Thanks for the question, Derek. Somi asks, can you explain what was the difference between camping mode and remote climate control? What else does it offer besides keeping the internal temperature consistent while you sleep? So when you're in the car, I'll give you an example in the Model S. You click on the air conditioning, and there's a button there that says keep climate on, and you click yes. Then what happens is, after you, let's say, get out of the car, it will keep the climate controls going during that time. If versus when you actually go log into here on your phone and you click a button and have you do that it will turn off after 30 minutes. So keep climate on and doing this have different kind of timer. They kind of shut off at a different time. And so that's the idea, right? And so for me, yeah, if you're sleeping, if you're camping, or if you're partying and you want to have your car going, those are all things that you can use there. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Hope that helps. James asks, I just noticed the shareable reference code to my Tesla Model 3 pending order. The code includes my first name and a number. Any guesses as to the significance of that number randomly generated? Perhaps, I don't know about the number. It could just be an ID. Not sure. Thanks for the question, James. Is there a way to track what Model 3 I have ordered? This is from Sai. Is it through the referral number? If it is, will around 30,000 be able to get their car quicker than other people? I don't know what you mean. Is there any way to track what Model 3 I have ordered? You should be able to log into your Tesla account and see. Hopefully that helps. You should see a reservation number and or a VIN number. Bob asks, very interested in the earnings call talking about people are buying above their normal car price bracket due to the technology improving. Yep. Intending to keep their car 15 to 20 years. Is this true? What do you all think? Will the Model 3 last that long? Yeah, certainly people are buying, above their kind of previous pay grade with the Model 3. Even if you're buying the $35,000 version, considering the average price of the top 5 being traded in was $19,000 as of today. Huge, amazing. I don't know if they're going to keep it for that long, or if they're just wanting it, if they're seeing the value, if they've understood that the reduced costs in charging and maintenance and everything else just makes it a lot more economical. I'm not quite sure what people's thoughts are on that. Obviously, we'd have to do some surveys and stuff. Will the Model 3 last that long? Sure. You'll obviously have, brakes and tires and things like that, that you have to replace and change. But the motors on the Model S anyways, I believe are rated at 1 million miles. And the battery pack data, and I've published a study where I had an analysis, I think, of 800,000 charging trips. Essentially, like a charging trip would be anytime someone's charged. And I've looked at when people have charged to 100%. How has that degraded over time in terms of the rated range that they have when they're at 100%? And yeah, I mean, they clearly could go to 500,000 to 600,000 miles at least before they start to degrade below a 20% average. So I've actually done that, several studies on that. Lots of other people have data on that as well. So 15 to 20 years, yeah, certainly you could get it depending on how you drive and stuff. Thanks for the question, Bob. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. It has been a blast to share all this kind of fun news with you. Also, I wanted to share one last thing. If you guys are still hanging on with me, and if you are, bless you, because this has been a good day. What I'm going to do, I want to give you guys a shout out here. And so this is something, it's still going on. We've got 9 days left. And I really want you guys to check this out because this is special. I do have a signature black wall connector from Tesla. It actually has Elon's signature etched on it. And these are very limited edition, and they are not for sale. This is not something you can go buy. So it is kind of very, very unique to get this. Now, I'm giving mine away in an effort to really just to give back and also to help grow the channel because I think more people that hear about this stuff are going to switch to EVs, and that makes a positive impact on our world. So that's kind of the idea here and why I want to grow the channel, I guess. So I'm giving it away. You have 9 days left to enter, and I just want to talk through this here. You're going to have to pay for shipping, but other than that, whoever wins, it's totally free. And the way it works is you enter to be as a subscriber. Many of you guys probably already are subscribers, so you can do that. Even if you already are a subscriber, you click here, you enter by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Then afterwards, you'll get an email with a code. Now that code is going to you can share that with other people, and every person that you share it with that signs up you get 3 entries instead of just the 1. And so that's what's really cool about this. So there's no limit. You literally could get 10,000 entries into this contest if you shared it and if you had a large enough audience, etc. So I want to do this because I want somebody to have this in their home. My garage is not worthy of such a beautiful thing. I do have it already. You just need to pay for shipping if you win. Hopefully you can help share this out there with the world, and I hope you guys win. I hope it'd be cool. I'd love to see a picture when you do take delivery of it. So that was my last little promo there to help kind of, you guys know about that if you didn't know, and give a shout out if you've not seen it before. So that's it for today, folks. I appreciate you all for joining me. Thanks yet again. And don't forget, when you free the data, your mind will follow. I'll see you guys back here next time.